What is going on, you guys? Today I have another quick video review for you. This one is called Why Working 40 Hours a Week is a Joke and Stupid by Aaron Knightley. Let's get into it.
Working 40 hours a week is stupid. In fact, it's a joke. And again, it's another lie that we've all been told, and I'm here to expose it in today's video. So trigger warning, if you are a sheep and you have that mentality of, well, I'm lucky to have a job, and Aaron, you have a bad attitude and you're just trying to poo-poo the 9 to 5, this video is not worth watching. This video is for people who know deep down something is seriously wrong about exchanging the most precious commodity that we have, the most precious asset, which is time, and we're supposed to give it away for 40, 50, 60 hours every week for 45 years of our life to build someone else's dreams, to then hopefully retire at the ripe old broken age of 70 and hope that we have enough money in our pension.
So why not build your own dream instead? I totally agree with what he's saying. And also, I recently had a friend's dad pass away, like, as soon as he retired. It was maybe within, like, a couple months or, like, the year. Just imagine telling yourself, like, I'm going to do that thing when later. When I retire. It's going to be amazing when I retire. I'm going to do all the things that I always wanted to. You don't have as much time as you think you have, right? So why not just use what you've got right now to create that awesome life that you really want, rather than basically living for somebody else?
To live out the rest of our years. Well, I'm here to tell you now, that is not normal. I'll tell you something else that isn't normal, turning around and saying, well, I might as well befriend my co-workers because I spend more time with them than I do my family. Yeah, that's not normal, and we shouldn't be normalizing that. So where
Your family and your friends are more important. I don't know how people got that twisted.
did this all start? Well, we are in a rigged system. I can't change that, you won't change that, but what we can do is we can control the controllables, and we're going to talk about that in today's video. But where did this all begin? Well, the likes of Henry Ford, he pushed for that 8-hour day. He wanted people to stay longer, work harder, serve the system so he could become richer. Now, John D. Rockefeller, one of the richest men to ever walk the earth, who was in oil and pharmaceuticals and pretty much everything, he openly said, this is a quote that John D. Rockefeller said, "I want a world of workers, not thinkers." And what's happened? We have a world of sheep. And entrepreneurship is the 1%. There's only 1% of the 99% of the population that ever wake up. But, we can create videos like the one I'm doing now to hopefully inspire and wake other people up. But you have to want to wake up. You have to want to take the blinkers off. But I'm going to try and paint the very clear picture of this bizarre backwards world that we're living in right now.
And just to repeat this, John D. Rockefeller funded the public school system and was quoted in saying that, I want a nation full of workers and not free thinkers. So he's like training people, he's raising people to not think for themselves and build a life that they want. Basically to build other people's dreams and follow orders.
Okay, so let's talk about this 8-hour working day, which is a load of rubbish, by the way. You don't need to be working for 8 hours a day. It's just not needed. And I'm going to talk about the things that I've learned going into self-employment, entrepreneurship and business, is that there's something called deep focused work, right? And it's a real thing, and I'll talk about it in a minute. But working 8 hours a day, it's not needed. Clocking in and going into a place of work, and let's face it, you kind of dither about, and you're not working physically for the 8 hours, but you're doing as you're told, and you're going through the motions, the Groundhog Day, the hamster wheel, and you're conforming to what you're being told to do. Therefore, you become a yes person. You are given a task and you do as you're told, and doing that week after week, month after month, year after year, you essentially end up being a robot and you serve the system, and then you believe that that is the only way to make money, is that you have to exchange your time, which under circumstances is true. In the beginning, everyone has to exchange some time, and you do have to work hard on yourself to, get somewhere. But what they don't want you to do is realise that actually I don't need to be working for 8, 10, 12 hours a day. And they don't want you to work smarter, which is why I've done videos on stop working hard. Because working physically hard doesn't make you rich. No one has ever become rich by becoming the yes man or the yes woman in the dog's body. There isn't. They become used and abused. So we need to start working smarter, which is what they don't want you to do. They don't want you thinking outside of the box. Go back to John D. Rockefeller. I want a world of workers, not a world of thinkers. So let me talk about my experience in the 9 to 5. I did a 10-hour shift, right? And I would go in, I'd clock in and start my shift, go to the canteen, sort of faff about for a bit, and I would actually complete all of my tasks in the first 45 minutes. And then I've got 9 hours left of just sort of piddling about. I outsource things. I didn't really have to do anything because I just realised, why on earth am I dragging out these tasks for 10 hours? I didn't need to. It's not productive, it's not efficient. And I knew this very early on, which is why obviously I was, planning my escape of getting out of the 9 to 5. But there are workers out there, and I've worked with them, and I'm sure you have, where they go in and they're trying to stay busy and they're always on the move and they're dragging out these tasks. And I'd be scratching my head sort of thinking, what are you doing? You don't need to, just complete it now, and then you're done for the day, and just look busy and start working on yourselves. It's not productive at all to be in a place of work for 8 to 10 hours, especially when you have the mindset shift of, you get one life, right? You don't get your time back. So you really do have to value your exchange of time, and then you question, well, hang on a minute, I'm only being paid 12, 13, 15, 20, 25, 30 pound an hour for the one thing I'm never going to get back. So you have to really kind of think.
Yeah, you give all your time and health to them. And by the way, just to further his point home more, most people who want to build something for themselves, he's not necessarily saying just go ahead and quit your 9 to 5. That's not what he's saying. He would probably also say to build, like a backup fund or like an emergency fund, basically. And so in that case, build that up before quitting, or even build your side hustle while you're working, right? So work that job and then come home and do the work. But here's what most people won't be doing, right? Is they won't get home from their 9 to 5 and start building that business to start helping people, their self employment, right? Creating a life that they really want. Or they won't do it before work either, right? I don't have enough time. I'm too tired. Blah, blah. And then they watch Netflix and they play video games and they watch adult entertainment and blah blah blah. And then that Groundhog Day effect goes for years and years and years for your 9 to 5, and then you never accomplished anything. And it was always when I'm going to retire, when I'm going to retire, and then it never happened. And then you didn't have the ability with your body to do the same things you did when you were younger, when you retired, because you didn't take care of yourself, because you gave all of that to your work. Think about it.
Is this fair? And the answer is no. Something I want to share with you because I'm in London a lot. It's fascinating. If you stand on London Bridge at 9 a.m. and then 5 p.m, the amount of corporate workplace zombies, they get on the train and they believe that having the corporate job, having the mortgage, the finance car, travelling to work, they're tired, stimulated with caffeine, they get off, they cross London Bridge, they go into the city, they've got the salary, and then 5 p.m. comes and they're all marching back. And my God, you ever been in London? They walk at 100 mile an hour. And it's that Groundhog Day every single day on rotation, and they're wasting their life. Again, doing the 40, 50, 60-hour week because they believe that's normal. They believe that job security is a good thing, that it actually exists and it doesn't. They're wasting their lives. And if you just stop and watch these people, honestly, you can see that the rat race and the matrix and the whole system, it's real. Like, it's so real if you just observe the thousands of people at 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. that are back and forth, rushing and racing to the train station to do it all over again the next day. Now, the good news is, right, you can actually make a change. But for me, it's about accountability. You need to know where your hours are going in order to break away from this 40-hour week, this 50-hour week where you're stuck on the hamster wheel. Because look at this, and this is mind-blowing. There's 168 hours during the week. Let's say you work 40 hours and you sleep 40 hours. You're left with 88 hours to build your dreams and your life. And what are you doing with those 88 hours? And this is what is crazy, right? Because we can have a look at average doom scrolling, which is 3 hours per day for the average person. That works out to 1,095 hours over the year. Most people are doom scrolling much longer than 3 hours. But even if we just base it on that minimum of 3 hours of doom scrolling, that's 45 days and 12 hours a year. You lose over a month. So we've got these 88 hours spare. What are you doing? Are you watching Netflix and chilling out? Or
Exactly, that's what I said earlier. And even think about this: if building that life you really want, getting XYZ thing accomplished was that important for you, you would at least stop saying that I don't have enough time and schedule that in for like 10 minutes, right, to do a day. 10 minutes of progress is better than nothing. And more than likely, you can do more because most people are doing what he's saying, like scrolling their phone, Netflix, blah, 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 right?
are you educating yourself?
So you experience Groundhog Day for a long time.
Watching YouTube, working on yourself, going to the gym, listening to a book, networking, building your first side business so that you can break out of this lie and this stupid 40-hour work week. Let me share something with you. It's crazy to think once upon a time I was in a job for 10 hours, just wasting my life. Well, I wasn't, because I was planning on getting out and I made moves to get out. So I felt like I was wasting my life, but I was doing what was necessary. But this is what's crazy. Deep focus work. When I work for myself now in self-employment and running my own businesses, I do like 2 hours on the laptop, deep focus work, and I do more work and make more progress than I ever did in a 10-hour shift. That's literally what happened. This whole 4-hour work week and deep focus, these books, it's true. When you start hyper focusing on the things that need to be done, which move the progression needle in your own business, you can do them in 2-3 hours. Because when you work for yourself, you value your time so much more, and you do things in a priority of high value tasks first and then low value tasks after that as the day gets on. But the great thing about entrepreneurship is you can work in the pocket. So, you can wake up when you want, do a couple of hours, get loads done because you're so efficient, go off, have some lunch, go back to the gym, spend time with family, whatever. And obviously I'm referring to more remote online style businesses, not physical labour businesses. I wouldn't want to be involved in that. But you get so much more done. And I look back and I think, oh my God, I was going into a job for 10 hours and wasn't really doing anything. Like, I wasn't getting paid my worth and I was wasting my time. It's an eye-opener when you start working for yourself and you realise how much more efficient you can be in just 2-3 hours. I mean, I've got friends who are well ahead of.
Well, exactly what he said. You value your time a lot more when you're building your own thing rather than building someone else's dream. Like, imagine just giving your whole life up, which, by the way, is what a lot of people are doing. your whole life up for somebody else.
In terms of business, and literally they do like 2-3 hours a month now because everything's automated. They've got great freelance remote teams that do most of their tasks and stuff like that. You know, they've outsourced a huge amount, and everything else on the back end is just systems and processes that have been put in place. That's the beauty of online business. So what can you take away from this? Well, control the controllables. Start working on yourself and really question, where are your 88 hours spare going? Are you working on yourself at the weekends? Are you taking the opportunity of a bank holiday to work on yourself? You know, when you finish your 8-hour shift, your 9 to 5, are you going home and are you sitting on the couch slobbing about? Or are you getting to the gym and coming up with ideas on the treadmill and noting them down in your phone and then going home and actually working on the business? For me, it's very obvious and simple. Life is for opportunity, taking opportunity, sorry. It's for making memories. It's for spending time with family, loved ones, providing a better life, doing things that you've always wanted to do, living out your dreams rather than having them suppressed and forgetting about them and, you know, hitting a midlife crisis at 45 years old. And it's not even about the amount of money that you make. A salary is not a flex. So one thing that always irritates me is when, you know, I've had it before where people are like, oh, I'm regional manager and I'm on £120,000 salary a year. It's like, yeah, that don't impress me much. What I want to know is how much time do you have? You know, it's not about how much money I make, but the beauty is I have time. I can do what I want. I can go where I want at the drop of a hat. I don't ask permission for anything. That is just like, that's the winner chicken dinner, is not having to ask permission to do what you want to do. Life is about, you know, travel and exploring and adventure and spending that with loved ones. It's not about giving in and just thinking, well, this is what everyone else does. This is normal, because it's not. Society will tell you that it's normal, but it's not. You know, being overweight and unhealthy, society doesn't blink an eyelid. But, you know, going to the gym twice a day and tracking your food, you're seen as weird. You're not. You have values and standards and self-respect, so you can live a long, healthy life and enjoy it with family and your children. Looking after your money is seen as a little bit like, oh, you know, you can't take it to the grave. Well, you know, people who aren't looking after their money are the ones to blame everyone else.
All right, guys, well, you get the point. I mean, really good video. Go check out Aaron Knightley's channel and like, comment, subscribe over here as well. I'm building to 1,000 followers or subscribers right now. So help me out so I can monetize the channel and help more guys spread the message of how to live a life by your own design rather than somebody else's. All right? Thanks for watching. You got this, bro. Peace.